Hello everyone and welcome to His Author's Voice. And I am the author, Jack Sanger. The story I am about to read to you involves that extraordinary experience which we call intuition. Now, many of the advances in science and the arts seem to have resulted from a dream or a sudden intuitive realization. This story is based on exactly that experience. Albert Einstein and the God particle. So many billions of years that it should come to this. Life without thought, through thought without life, culminating in that moment when the two finally fuse into being, thought and life. There is the moment of violent ejection from the furnace of immense weight and no size. There are the universe's wild and wonderful anomalies, the laws and forces. There is the journey of a speck in space and time, travelling. There are the days of forming, coalescing, fragmenting, reforming, each one more complex than the last. 1 cell, 2 cells, 4 cells, 8 cells, doubling. There are the iterations of being, from unicellular to multicellular, from flora to fauna, and back again. And during the journey of this singular atom, this rare, strange superpower among the universe of atoms, it finds itself on planet Earth, the smallest unit in the immense chemical, electrical, and physical assemblage known as a human baby. It has a special place here, fundamental to the potential of this host entity. What it has experienced and will experience are held as information within its endless storage capacity, in a perfect record. From its birth in the first furnace until its death at the furthest reaches of time, and this superatom communicates all of this to the billions of cells around it, in the baby. The baby is called Albert Einstein. It is born on 14th of March 1879 and it dies on the 18th of April 1955, according to planet Earth's BCE calendar. Albert Einstein is best known for developing the theory of relativity, but he also makes important contributions to the development of the theory of quantum mechanics. He is thought of as the greatest scientist in the history of his species. Einstein is not an obviously gifted child. He doesn't speak until nearly 3, is ponderous physically, and slow in answering questions, poor at languages, and a failure at school. Only as he approaches 16 years old does he show an exponentially increasing aptitude for mathematics and science. This aptitude is known because Einstein later talks of a remarkable thought experiment he conducted while he was only a 16-year-old student, and which marked his first steps towards a theory of special relativity. This experience, in fact, marked the point at which the superatom exhibits its potency for the first time, becoming the centre of communication for some of the billions of atoms around it. It is its first direct contribution to the chattering discourse within its human host. It is the point at which it makes its memorable experiences of space and time available to its fellows. The atom rests within the occipital lobe in Einstein's brain. It precipitates his novel thought experiments. Einstein says the following about these experiments. He calls them the consequence of his intuition, not aware that they are the effects of the superatom exercising its power. The most beautiful thing we can experience is the mysterious. It is the source of all true art and science. The intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind a faithful servant, he said. Throughout his remaining 60 years, the superatom continues to make available the wealth of its information, such that Albert Einstein's innovative thought experiments are fueled by its accumulated knowledge until the very end of his life. This results, for Einstein's species, in a revolution in its understanding of the very nature of reality. Throughout, he has an intuitive sense that there is no God as proposed by religions. Such beliefs are primitive and naive. Instead, the very substance of the universe, the integration of every atom from which it is constructed, create a unity, a wholeness. That, thinks Einstein, may be termed God. When he's about to die, Albert Einstein refuses medical intervention. His intuition tells him it is not in accord with his destiny. In a poetic thought experiment, he says, "I want to go when I want. It is tasteless to prolong life artificially. I have done my share. It is time to go. I will do it elegantly." Later, during the autopsy, a pathologist removes Einstein's brain for preservation without the permission of his family, in the hope that the neuroscience of the future would be able to discover what made Einstein so intelligent. By this time, however, the superatom has already left its resting place, and among many dissipating fellow atoms, it departs in the cloud above his body. Then, after a certain gestating time of iteration between fauna and flora, it transits to its next significant location. It is a baby called Marie-Louise Fontainebleau. She is born on October the 11th, 2343, and she dies exactly 150 years later to the day, in 2493. Her work on transversible wormholes and the development of practical applications from her intuitive theory of teleportation revolutionizes the very nature of her species and the frontiers it crosses. She is celebrated as the greatest scientist in the history of her species, with only Albert Einstein worthy of any comparison. So there you have it, the inside story of where our intuition comes from. That was Albert Einstein and the God particle. And there is another story in my channel in similar vein. It suggests how Charles Darwin intuited his theory of evolution. And it's called The Girl Who Taught Charles Darwin Evolution. Anyway, if you like the story, with a twist, you will find at least 36 more on this channel, ranging in subject from horror to science fiction to social drama. In general, they last about 15 minutes, just about long enough to see you off to sleep. Meanwhile, please subscribe to this channel by clicking on the subscribe button and tell your friends to come and listen. If you prefer to read rather than listen, or to do that as well, you can go to my website www.jacksanger.com, and there you'll find novels, plays and short stories that you can download for free, or you can make a donation. It's entirely up to you. So that's it for now. Have a peaceful week. See you next time. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.